All right, this is the 5 Point Play podcast, the Die Hard Duke Basketball Fans podcast. Thought AC was going to drop in something there with the Fly Eagles Fly chat. I got you, Pops. That's why.
Hey, what are you talking about, DK? What do you mean?
All right, fair enough. Okay. This is still a Duke Basketball Fans podcast. Here we go.
Go Birds.
Fly, Eagles fly, score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles fly, on the road to victory.
Let's hear it, TK. EAGLES, Eagles.
Oh, that's how you spell it. I thought it was EGLGLLGLS.
Look, nah. See, we don't need to go there.
I didn't know. All right, so obviously Jack is not with us tonight. He's still celebrating the Eagles' victory parades, burning down the city.
The Sixers game.
And the Sixers game, chanting for the Eagles. Hopefully they still are right. I don't know.
Shout out to Philly.
Shout out to
Hey.
adopted son, Pablo.
Yes, sir. Bobs, baby.
Yeah.
Coach Peace.
Let's go
Peace,
Birds.
And then we got the founding father AC in the house with your boy TK. D is not here. We're not going to go into the details of why he's not here, but that's okay. He'll be back. Don't worry. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, congrats to AC, Pops, and of course Jack for the Eagles. Just absolute domination. I was even as an innocent bystander, like I wasn't even looking forward to the game going into it.
Yeah.
But like if I was a fan of the Eagles, I'd be like, that was the greatest game of all time.
Dude, I've been a fan since the Buddy Ryan era, and
it's a long time.
Man, it's been a rough few decades, bro. I mean, we got the one against the Patriots and all that. That felt great. And now this was just like that was an easy watch.
I mean, for Pops though, like you got it. Like you're 1 for 1.
Yeah, hey, I've been an Eagles fan for about 2 weeks now. Yes, I'm good to go.
Thanks, Pops. Bring that good energy.
Hell that's yeah, right. Baby.
I think the halftime show was the most stressful thing to watch that game.
I know, right?
People was
I didn't watch the halftime show, so I was doing dad duties during halftime. And I came back like 700 text messages. Either it was greatest or worst.
That halftime show was fire. It was fire.
All right, so we got a lot to cover here. We're going to spend a really long time talking about the Syracuse game. We beat the shit out of them, so let's move on.
That was it.
Talk about the game that everybody wants to talk about. The first loss in losing 16 games for Duke, 77-71. And, I got to be honest, I'm going to start it out with this. I got to give our fans a lot of credit. I don't see a whole lot of overreacting going on to the loss. I thought most people kind of understood that, this team, I wouldn't say it was due for a loss. That's probably not the right way to phrase it, but it was one that, we didn't play our best game, and Clemson played fantastic. Give credit where credit's due. They rebounded the hell out of the basketball. They made a hell of a lot of contested shots. Duke made some really uncharacteristic mistakes. Obviously, Mason Jones didn't play again, and Cooper Flag was under the weather. I know no excuses play like a champion, but those are things that certainly played into it. And I thought that overall, Clemson earned that win a lot more than Duke did. And so we're going to break it down for you. Coach P, I'll start with you. Your overall kind of takeaway immediately after the game, and where do you sit now?
First and foremost, go Birds. And second on my agenda, fuck Clemson. But anyway, I digress. So I think one of the biggest things for me is that was probably the worst defensive effort that I've seen Duke from this year. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like we've been we've had our spurts where we play like terrible defense or whatever, but like this game, it just wasn't like, it just seemed like everybody was disjointed, man. It was like no communication, like missing rotations. Everything was just bad. Because normally what happens with Duke is that, like, even when we playing like a tough opponent or somebody that's, really good or whatever, or
Mm-hmm.
expected to win or whatever, or elite, our defense always holds up. You know what I'm saying? For some reason,
Yep.
they let, oh boy, what's the name?
Locking.
Larkin, whatever the fuck his name is. I think he's like Putin's cousin or some shit. They let him like go insane, bro. He like
Yeah.
went insane on Duke, bro. And I mean, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I understand it and shit, and being under the weather with Cooper and all that. But if you on the floor, bro, I mean, we ain't got no excuse. You know what I'm saying? Just hoop, just play ball. You know what I'm saying? So, um, I don't know, man. It was just one of those games, man. It was just a really weird game. And for me, like when I'm watching the flow and the tempo of the game, bro, I always know, bro. Like when it's like second half and like 10 minutes left and like we just seem like we're just struggling,
Mm-hmm.
I already know like this game ain't gonna go out, how I wanted it to go or whatever. So it always seems that way, man. And I think for us, it just seemed like offensively, bro, like it was way like it was like difficult for us to get any kind of clean looks or good shots, bro. While Clemson, they seemed like their stuff was a lot more cleaner, a lot simpler, a lot more
Mm-hmm.
basic, and they just ran their stuff, man. They kept going to the same thing, and that's what surprised me the most is that it was pretty obvious that they wanted to get the mismatch with Locken and get it going like that, and they kept doing that. They kept going, kept going, kept going, and like John didn't adjust. He didn't. He almost didn't adjust at all, or I might have missed an adjustment. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it didn't seem like they adjusted at all. They wanted to get the switch. Get somebody small on lock in, and he could just take advantage of them.
I'm trying to remember. Did we even go zone
We
I
did
think
for
we did
a
for a
hot minute.
brief
for
moment.
like a
A
hot
brief
second, right?
moment.
Okay.
Yeah, we did in the second half for a hot minute. This is an interesting take that Bob said. It's one that I share. I almost feel like this game is more on John than anybody. That's kind of the takeaway that I've had over the last couple of days. That you know, obviously Coop under the weather, okay, but he
Mm-hmm.
also tried to will his team to win at the end and almost pulled it off. If they just mopped the floor a little better, maybe we do. But I kind of felt like we definitely missed some coaching fixes there throughout the game, really, but certainly in the second half that I thought that would have turned the tide to us. And so, AC, your take before we kind of dive into the weeds.
No, I agree. I totally agree with Pablo about the defensive side of the ball. I just had the stats up there, the analytical stats. Um, they don't tell a whole story or anything like that, but I think it validates what Pobbs is saying when you saw our defensive rating. It was the worst all season it's been for
Yeah,
as a whole, as a team. It was 122 as a team. No one was under 100, which all season we've had players under 100 with the defensive rating. So it's one of those things, man, where yeah, the defense wasn't there. I don't know if it was fatigue. I don't know if it was just game plan. I mean, Clemson is an efficient offense. We talked about it after Wake. Um, Very similar styles in terms of defense. They want to turn you over, the way they play physically and things. The difference between Wake and Clemson can score the ball. So we talked about that after the Wake game was when we go to Clemson, we can't play the same game that we played against Wake because where with Wake they can't score, so we can win that game. But with Clemson, you can't win that game not producing offensively. So even though the defense, didn't show up, especially in that second half specifically, the offense also did not show up. The offense was pretty stagnant the entire second half. Where Tyrese Proctor was cooking in the first half, really didn't get any shots in the second half. Khan was kind of off in the second half. It was definitely a struggle, man. We didn't put together we certainly didn't put together a complete game. I think we did enough to be in the position to win, but you can't just put yourself in a position to win. You got to put yourself in a position to take the game, and we usually do that. We haven't done that the past couple of weeks outside of UNC. Outside of that game, we really have been kind of just surviving, which I don't like to see that with this team right now. But we've talked about before, late January, early February, you see this. So if this team is going to learn something, it's going to be in this couple of week frame, and after this home swing we have coming up, these next 3 home games we have, I think you'll really start to see the real team take shape. We didn't have Mason Gillis, who's going to take a few minutes away from Coop, especially with him being sick. He's going to take a few minutes away from some other guys that were on the floor a lot. And I think that'll help moving forward. But no, this team has to find an identity on not find an identity. We have an identity on the defensive side. I'm not saying we need to find an identity. What we do need to reestablish our identity is back on that rebounding side of the ball, because we did not rebound well at all this game, not even a little bit.
Yeah, we've been out rebounded Pops 3 straight games. The one against UNC I toss out, in my opinion. But this one we got dominated on the boards, and
I don't
that
want to
can't
toss
happen.
that one out. And
What was
not
that again?
I'm not I said I don't want to toss that one. I'm not trying to rehash the
Right.
second half of the UNC game. I'm not trying to do that. What I am trying to say is this is one of the things that we've, every time we've done a wish list thing or a New Year's resolution thing or whatever, is my thing has always been we need to establish our interior, because we have a superior interior to most teams. We can't keep saying we have the biggest team in the NCAA and then get out rebounded by the UNC midgets and Wake Forest and now Clemson. I mean, we can't be out rebounded by these teams, man.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with that. Go ahead, Pops.
so I don't know. I was gonna say. I mean, what do you guys think the cause of us getting out rebounded is? I think it's a couple of things. Just from like watching the games, and I think it's primarily, if you look at the games, if you really watch, right, just watch for what's going on. I think it's a big thing is that Duke is a heavy switching team.
Mm-hmm.
And what generally happens is late in the possessions is you see a big guarding a smaller player, and
Mm-hmm.
they get pushed out onto the perimeter. So that's what I think like is part of. I think that's primarily the point of us getting, not the point, but primarily the purpose of us getting out rebounded for the most part. But that's just looking deeper into stuff. But I mean, still, honestly, rebounding is really just it's hard work and will and hustle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it doesn't matter if we're the biggest or smallest team, pause, you know what I'm saying? I think that everybody should be rebounding, and we're such a good rebounding team. And it's really no reason for it, bro. Like,
Right.
if you're helping and recovering, and if you find yourself on a 3-point line, if you come on and you guarding, when that ball go up, you don't need to I'm not gonna box out no fucking point guard. I'm gonna go hit I'm crashing the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the point that needs to be driven home to some of our players, is that, we're still stuck on the phase that, like, if I'm guarding AC and TK, you swing the ball to AC, I'm running a closeout on AC in the corner. I close out high, right? He shoots the 3. I'm still standing there just looking to see if he's going to try to crash board. So I'm trying to box him out. No, fuck all that. Go get the rebound. You know what I'm saying? Fuck this little midget dude. Go get the rebound.
Yeah.
And that's just it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just need the gang rebound. And that's just it, bro. Like, it's no reason for us to get out rebounded. Like, I'm not like throwing a red flag or like super concerned about it. But at the same time, you don't want to get out rebounded, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because if we can get the rebound, bro, that's our possession, right? On both sides of the ball.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that we do better. I think we're a better offensive rebounding team, than we are a defensive rebounding team. And that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I think that comes from, a lot of pause, you know what I'm saying? A lot of tips, you know what I'm saying? And we tip the ball out a lot and shit like that. And you see a lot of that, you know what I'm saying? So it just is what it is. But if you really just like look inside deep into the pause again, you know what I'm saying?
Man,
into, like,
just
what's
say all
going
pause
on.
and be done with it.
I know, right? If you really look deep inside to what's going on and shit, like a lot of our bigs are getting pushed out, and they, like, even Malik, bro, like, you see him switching on everything, right? He's deflecting everything. He's on the perimeter damn near. You know what I mean? He's got to run all the way back to the rim just to get a rebound. You know what I mean? So, and then it's just one of those things, man.
Yeah, hold on real quick. I just want to add this before AC, is that I think there's a combination of things. And it could be that some of our players are out of position, but I do want to say that to Pablo's, kind of point there about Malik, is that he is always out on the perimeter. That's why he's getting some of the deflections and all those sorts of things. So he's never going to have those high rebound numbers. But the problem with that is, in my opinion, they're obviously awesome. Like, he's the best defender in the country, but we're not translating that into fast break points. And so, if you're not translating it into fast break points, then you need to gain rebound and figure, like, you have to stop it there. You can't give up 11 rebounds. You can't get out rebounded by 13. And I think a lot of that, personally, is them being out of position defensively. Maybe a lot of that is because of the switching 1 through 5 the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like AC, like there are just some things there that John has to clean up. And I'm not worried about the cleaning up. That's why I didn't really, you know, I
Yeah,
didn't
but I
really
think, man,
react
I
after
think
the loss.
some
But
of these. Oh, sorry, not to cut you off, but I think
no,
some of
good.
these veteran coaches too, they understand that too. They're seeing the game the way that we're talking about it. You know what I mean? So they know that that's what Duke is going to do, and that's what they want to do. So they're going to take advantage of that. They're going to tell their guys, "Hey, hit the boards hard." Their bigs are out on the perimeter. Shoot as many threes as you want to shoot. Everybody crash. That's a
Well,
that's
see,
a
that's
real
the
life
thing.
that's a real life strategy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are we
That,
doing, right? Why are we not adjusting to that? We should be adjusting that. It hasn't like, I wouldn't say it hasn't. It's hurt us, but it hasn't killed us. You know what I'm saying? But that's something that could kill you in a tournament. You know, you
that's the
run
thing
into a
I've
team.
noticed the past couple of games. I actually is teams are shooting less threes against us than they had been earlier in the season. We're allowing more drives than we've allowed kind of throughout the rest of the season. So that's where the defense has faltered a little bit. And now
Yeah,
you have teams they're kind of crashing. They're crashing now on us when that drive, and where our guards were getting a lot of rebounds earlier in the season, and that's why we weren't being out rebounded because our guards were so active on the boards.
yeah,
Now they're non-existent on the boards, and you
Yeah,
have a lot of shots at the rim. So now their bigs are getting those cleanup opportunities underneath. Shefflin had a bunch of offensive boards and a bunch of opportunities under the basket off of rebounds, and then setting up Hunter off those passes and things. Locken really didn't have a crazy rebounding game, but I mean, he did have some opportunistic boards that kept them in the game and pushed
yeah,
them into the lead. And
yeah,
and I think that was one of the biggest things is like we got to clean up on the defensive side of the ball. We definitely have to clean up the amount of drives we're allowing because that was not a part of our game plan earlier in the season. And now it's something that teams are really making a concerted effort to do against us is drive. So we got to fix that.
Yeah, AC, I wanted to ask you this, keeping with you here, that I thought Clemson did a great job steaming us offensively. Like they were able to not only do some of their backdoor cuts and swing the ball, they didn't take a lot of threes. They took 10. They made 4 of
Mm-hmm.
them great, but it wasn't like they were firing them up.
Mm-hmm.
They exposed mismatches. This is another thing that I had a problem with John is that if we had the quote unquote tallest team in NCAA, but every time we looked around, Clemson identified the mismatch, much
Mm-hmm.
like we usually do. Khan usually has the mismatch on offense. We exposed that when we played UNC. Khan, back down RJ Davis 6'7" versus 6 foot, and just went out of city.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson kind of did that to us, kind
Yeah.
of fighting fire with fire there. Like, but they exposed our weaknesses on switching every single possession.
Yep.
Where can our coaching staff kind of learn from that? Is it I'm seeing some things out there where stop switching 1 through 5, switch 1 through 4, and let
Yeah, I think
5 go 5.
even John has brought that up. Even John has said that he doesn't want to he want 1 through 4. He doesn't want to switch 1 through 5 as much anymore. He wants to switch 1 through 4. Obviously, teams are going to try to put Common out on the perimeter when he's in the game, but him and Pat both, but primarily Common. But yeah, no, I do think that the constant switching is good. It it keeps you off balance on the other side on the offense or whatever, makes shots more difficult, things like that, right? So against like when we play Kentucky early in the year, that game plan is a game plan you want to maintain because of the amount of threes they were going to take. The fact that teams are starting to drive on us now, you kind of can't switch as much anymore as you wanted to before. You do have to play some drop, and it'll be interesting to see if we end up. I don't think we're going to move Coop around more often or anything like that, but it would be cool if he's able to kind of hang around the lane a little bit more depending on the matchup, right? Like our team's gonna, or not every team's gonna be able to spread us out 4-1 or whatever. Even Clemson, they didn't really spread us out 4-1. They played that kind of high low. But Coop just couldn't get in position to help on the drives and things. I think some less minutes for him, number one, because he is gassed out there. That'll help. And number two, it's this. I think the switching. You don't shut the switching down. You don't stop your identity of it being a switching team, but you definitely can. You can devise some things, right? You can switch high low. You can switch across the floor. You can switch in a lot of creative ways with communication to kind of make things work. So it'll be interesting to see these next couple of weeks what we start to work out on the defensive side because our identity has changed a little bit on D from being a team that stops the drive to being a team now that allows it more.
What's your take on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with what he's saying, and I mean, I totally agree. The only thing too, I think that it's all about personnel too. I think John has to, he has to start, and it's 1 through 5, 1 through 4. I don't give a fuck what it is, but if you know that they want to switch and have fucking Caleb Foster guard and locking, you know what I'm saying? So they're gonna set
Mm-hmm.
the screen with him and then trying to pin him down under the rim. Don't fucking switch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Don't switch. You know what I mean? Keep the big on him. You know what I'm saying? Go over or under the screen. Period. You know what I'm saying? But then then you start to run in all the other fucking schematic things with basketball, and that's why you just gotta trust your dudes, and that your dudes have
Right.
to stay connected. They have to stay connected. They have to fucking call out the switches. They have to fucking, cover each other's back. They got to help the helper. And they just got to do more, man. They got to do more. But then I think, like these guys, some of these guys are playing heavy minutes and we're missing. Damn, that was a crazy shot. They playing heavy minutes and it's like, those are all mistakes that you make when you're tired, bro. Like motherfuckers
Mm-hmm.
get tired and they don't want to fucking do the extra shit. They don't want to go out there and run and close out and all that because they're already tired. So it's like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, why don't we just not fucking switch, bro? Just not switch. Keep the fucking big on big, you know what I'm saying? And let them, if they're gonna score, have them score over 7'2" instead of
Mm-hmm.
scoring over 6'5". You know what I'm saying? Because it's just simpler like that, man. So I think those are just the little things that John has to
Right.
work on and just really get his guys to lock in, and especially when you're tired, bro. That's when you have to really lock in because some of these guys are under the weather, and that's why I think you seen Coop so gassed. It wasn't because of the minutes he's playing, but he was already sick. In the combination with the minutes he's playing, he's going to be even more tired. So,
Right.
and I know we
And
sound like fucking, couch quarterbacks or whatever, but
nah, but
I mean,
we
it's just
got we
simple.
got to look at the game how we want to look at it, right? And that's one of the
Yeah.
things, right? The switching. The thing here's the thing about the switching, right? It's interesting that we switch so much, yet we're a team that only forces like 10 turnovers a game.
Mm-hmm.
The defense is elite. Like the way we play defense is elite, and it was elite because we got boards. Like when you get rebounds, it's the same thing as a steal. It's the same thing as creating a turnover. You're switching possession, right?
Yeah.
We're not getting those switches of possession anymore, but we're still switching like crazy on the floor, which is leaving us vulnerable. So we definitely have to fix that because it's wild that this team is so good defensively, yet we just don't create turnovers. It's so weird. It's such a weird dichotomy.
That's the thing. Like, I mean, we had like Clemson had 12 turnovers
Hmm.
against Duke, but they, to your point earlier, like the second chance points was 15-5. Like we can't have that. We
Yeah.
can't be down 10 points in second chance points. Like that's the game.
Hmm.
There you go. You lost, right? The other thing for us was just completely untimely turnovers. We had Isaiah stepping out of bounds. We
Hmm.
had Tyrese making a steal, and then I think he was fouled, but regardless, he gets knocked out of bounds. That's
Hmm.
you're giving the offense that you're opposing another chance to score, and
Yep.
so they don't even show up in second chance points because they're only counting the offensive rebounds,
Exactly.
and so they probably had another 6 to 8 of those.
Hmm.
And so, like, those were all things that, kind of factored in. One of the things that I wanted to say that Pablo touched on now was that the communication defensively, that was the first time I saw this Duke team visibly upset with each other
Hmm.
because they weren't they didn't have any cohesion. And so like that was like, okay, that's new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I think that's definitely something there.
Yeah. Nah, for sure. I definitely think that I mean, you could see it. You know what I'm saying? You could kind of see it. I don't think that's going to be a problem going
Oh
forward.
yeah.
But I definitely believe that, they were a little frustrated that game, and they gave up easy baskets, man. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like you tired and shit like that. I totally understand all that. But, you ain't got time for that, especially, this late in the season, bro. Like if you on the court, we expect you to play. So play the game and play the game the right way. You know what I mean? Bottom line. So,
Can can we talk about the rotation a little bit? I know that this is something that's every single season is going to be discussion points, right? Everybody wants more players to play, but I think when you do have a situation where Mason Gillis is certainly not available, Cooper's under the weather. Why is he playing 38 minutes? The Tyrese Proctor playing 39, I'm okay with it. He's a veteran.
for
He's been
sure.
around the program for 3 years. And he was balling. And I think that he could have played 58 minutes. I
Hmm.
think there would be no problem with that. But then you had Isaiah Evans playing 14. Big Pat only played a couple. Um, I feel like Big Pat has been a guy that we've talked about this that he deserves more minutes. What can John do rotation wise? You see to kind of help his own team out a little bit, where you know whether sick or not, Cooper doesn't have to play 38 minutes.
He's talked about the two big lineup where he wants to go to that two big lineup at times, whether it's Kamon and Malik, whether it's Malik and Pat, whether it's Kamon and Pat. And you saw that against Syracuse. I think he wants to deploy that at times. I don't think you'll see it for long stretches, but a couple of 2 or 3 minute segments in a few games, especially bigger games, I think you're going to see it. I think he's working towards it. It's just it's not a finished product yet, because we still have to be able to spread the floor on offense. So I think rotation wise, we're 8.5. Like we're 8 with Mason Gillis, Malik, and Isaiah, honestly, off the bench. And I think that other half is Caleb Foster. If he's having a good game, he's playing. If he's not having a good game, he's not. I think that's the half at this point. So really, yeah, I mean, and that's usually the lineup or usually the amount of players that play anyway in big games for coaches. So I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned about tired legs. I'm not concerned about all that stuff. They'll be fine come March. It's just a matter of the combinations that are on the floor. Does it make sense? And are you giving Cooper enough time to rest? Are you keeping Kamon out of foul trouble? Like, are you doing those things that you need to do to keep these guys engaged?
Yeah, go ahead, Pops.
Yeah, no, I'm with that. You know what I'm saying? I feel the same way. You know what I'm saying? It's all about like the right combinations and shit like that. And I think that's the part that I wouldn't say John hasn't figured out, but I think that's the part that he's still trying to tweak a little bit is the right combinations, because some of these guys, like, honestly are good enough to play, but they're just not playing well at their well, not some of these guys, but like, what I'm saying, you want to play a Caleb Foster because you know what he brings to the table, but you're not playing well. You know what I mean? So who are you going to put him out there with? He's struggling with his confidence or whatever. So who should you surround him with?
Right.
You know what I mean? Probably guys who could fill it up. You know what I'm saying? Pause. You know what I'm saying? Probably guys who, hey, yo.
And that's tough. That's tough with.
Damn, DK, chill.
That's tough though, because John is expecting to have a lead guard type coming off the bench, right? And he doesn't right now, because he was expecting to have, it was either going to be Caleb or Cian coming off the pine, right? And now you don't have that. Like, you don't have a lead guard type coming off the bench unless you sub like Reese out or you sub out Cian for somebody else, and then they come back in to give somebody else a blow.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
I had to get in with it, man.
Hey, yo, that was 2 pauses in a row. That's wild.
The king, baby.
Shit. Holy
shit. Can we talk about Cian James, by the way? I actually heard that some folks were upset when he took that drive at the very end, or not the very end, but toward the end of the game.
When he missed the dunk?
Yeah, he got blocked. No, not when he missed the dunk, but when he got blocked.
When he got
I liked the drive. I didn't like the decision to go up, when you're clearly double teamed and you're not going to get that shot off. So the drive, I love the aggressiveness and to say, hey, you know what? I'm fresh. I can do this. I know my teammates are limited on gas. Like, so I'm okay with that part, but like, you got to make a better decision once you get that deep in the lane and be able to pass the ball to a different player when you're on the squad. That was just me.
Sure. So with that, that was wild. That was crazy. Pause. But I think I think with Cian, what we, in hindsight is always 2020, and like you could go back and say a million things like, hey, he should have did this, he should have did that. But Cian is like, he looked like fucking the black Arnold Schwarzenegger out there.
This is what you brought him in for. You brought him in for this type of moment.
I'm okay with that.
So if you drive, but if he drives, I'd rather see him fucking all pause, go body to body, get the little guy up out of here and finish.
He did that though, but like it was 2-on-1 at that point, and that's why. And that's not how.
But I felt like he was kind of going away from the rim a little bit.
Right. He was, and that was the thing. Like the defense kind of pushed him out there, and that's why I was like, "Yo, like, great idea." You drew 2 players. Now, you gotta be. My point, I guess, is keep it simple. Read what happened.
For sure.
One of the problems too is we didn't have Common available, right? He fouled out, he's not there for that lob. That's usually
Sure.
Sion to come on lob.
Sure.
Or at the very least, that defender's not doubling over now because he knows he has to stay back on come on. So now Sion's got the 1-on-1. So that's another important factor is Colin's got to keep his ass on the floor, bro. Like,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
need
I was not
Sion,
Collins.
man. We need him. We need him. Beginning of the season, he was one of those guys we talked about. Like, not a lot of guys on this team. Like, we can work around not having some of the guys on this team. Common is one of those guys that affects the game so positively because of the size and everything else that you have to have him on the floor. And it's just not like he only played 20 minutes and he fouls out like and then has like 5 boards. Like, it was just really non-existent that second half. It's just, come on, man. Like, I think John was, like we talked about this before. I think John in the early part of the season was trying to teach him a lesson of, even if you're not involved on offense, you have to be involved in other facets of the game, because he's one of those guys that offense fuels the rest of his game. If he's not scoring, he's really not involved this season, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, only 2 shot attempts, 0 for 2,
Yeah,
both of which he should have made, quite frankly. But is it unfair to say that, we always talk about that freshman wall? This could be a mini freshman wall for him.
absolutely. Again, this is in the January, early February, man. This is just you just survive this time of year, man. You really
Yeah.
do. You
Yeah.
survive. You learn a little bit about your team, and you survive. Like, this time of year sucks.
Yeah, I
Dudes
think
are
he got.
sick, tests, all the other shit.
I think he had 3-4 stretch game where he kind of scored double digits, and he kind of
Mhm.
he might have got accustomed to, you know what I'm saying, getting the ball pause
Mhm.
a little bit more than he was used to getting it, and
For
now,
sure.
you know what I'm saying, he ain't really getting the rock like that, so it's kind of different for him. But I mean, I think he's fine. I think he just gotta, honestly, you know what I'm saying, like my man AC said in a private text before, I'm gonna reveal the truth. My man said he gotta act like he's seen war before, bro.
Right.
Like, real talk. My man, come on, bro. You from South Sudan, my brother. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, you know what I mean? You gotta start being a gangster, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
And I think that he has that in him. I really do.
Oh,
I
for
mean,
sure.
he's played in those types of environments where
Mhm.
I'm not worried. Let me just take a step back from everything. Right, we're all talking, just the Clemson game because that's the hot topic. And yeah, we lost. And we're always going to pick and when your team loses, it's always what went wrong.
Mhm.
We're not talking about some of the things that Clemson did right. And sometimes, especially during a long 40-game season, Clemson is just going to do things right, and we're going to have an
Yeah.
off night, and that happens. Like that
Mhm.
happens. But what you're not going to hear us say, and maybe you may have heard us say it in years past, is that the sky is falling. It's not.
Nah.
Mhm.
I have absolutely no problem with this loss.
No.
I hate losing. John hates losing. Cooper hates losing. The whole team hates losing. But this kind of is a good reset for us. Like,
Sure.
let's go back and re-look at things. And I think it really, to me, is a lot of John. Like, let me reset some. It was getting a little too easy for me uh, with this roster. Too easy to just kind of roll it out there and know that I got the most talent, the biggest team, all these things, and I'm just going to out talent and out, physically you. Teams now have in the last, 7 to 8 games been like, okay, we're going to try to muck up the game.
Mhm.
Clemson certainly did that. Clemson also strategically hit us in a lot of different areas where I don't think we had seen that before, and we had to be able to react. And so, um, I think that's going to provide some solid game tape for us to be able to say, okay, this is what teams are going to try to do
Yeah.
offensively. And John acknowledges all of this. He's a phenomenal watcher of tape, and so like, I feel like I'm not that worried about it. Housing for trouble. So to Stanford, we'll get to the previews in a minute, but I just wanted to throw that out there so that when
Mhm.
folks are listening, they're not listening to this, but like, oh, it's all negative, it's all negative. No, we're just trying to point out like here are different areas that we can improve, whether it's player by player or what the coaching staff can do, or just schematically. But at the end of the day, like I want to give some big shout out to 2 people. Tyrese Proctor, he was balling the entire damn night. And I don't think we talk about him enough on this podcast. And then Cooper Flag for 34 minutes on the leather, not playing well, and then tried to put his team on his back,
Mhm.
put the cape on, and basically will his team to victory. And if it wasn't for a West spot, he probably does. Like, and those 2 things, and I do want to make sure we point those out. Well, can we talk about Tyrese Proctor real quick? Because that guy, like, he's been fantastic all year. Aside
Mhm.
from a game or two, he's been fantastic all year. And think about where he finished the season last year against that game in the Elite Eight, making nothing. And
Mm-hmm.
now coming out here and playing so well this year, if he's not second team ACC at minimum, I'll be upset.
Yeah, no, honestly, his teammates let him down because anytime Tyrese Proctor scores 23 on this team, you should have a win. I mean, that's just plain and simple. If Tyrese Proctor scoring 23 points for your team, for this team in particular, we're not talking about last year's team or the team before where he needed to score 23 for us to get a win. We're talking about this team where he probably needs to score 10 at most for us to get a win most games. He scored 23. If he scored 23, that means we won by 15, 16 at least. But that wasn't the case this time, right? So that's exactly like he did his job. He did his job 100%. Now the rest of the team's got to catch up. It's kind of the same thing with that 14-15 team where every game Quinn Cook did his job. But if Justice wasn't playing or if Tyus was off, Ja usually wasn't off. Shouts to Big Ja back in the league, by the way.
Yeah, I love that.
If one of those dudes was off, then okay, yeah, that team might have a rough night. And they did. They had that little 3-game stretch in the middle of the season, kind of around this time of year, where
Yep.
we lost those games. And they had to, some guys had to find some things out about themselves. Justice, famously had to have the conversation with Kay about if you do what you're supposed to do, we're gonna win, and you will get to where you want to be in the league. All those things happen. So this time of year, especially. So again, let's survive. Let's survive. We got through the hardest part of our schedule now, minus Illinois, and let's survive this time of year right here in the ACC and just get out of these doldrums the next couple of weeks and really reestablish who we are. We saw who we were against UNC. We saw the team that we are and that we're capable of being. And we still didn't really even involve Common in that game. So if we add that wrinkle to this team at that point, we are unstoppable. If we add the wrinkle of we can score in the interior on you in creative ways regularly, then there's nothing else anybody can do. They can't play the same game plan that Clemson played against us, even because we kind of allowed Clemson to force us to the outside in the second half, which we talked about before the game in spaces, which was you can't do that. You can't settle on the outside like that, and we did.
No, 100%, man. Just to touch on pause. That was wild. Just touch on Tyrese a little bit. Yeah, relax. Touch on Tyrese a little bit. Pause. Is you know what I'm saying? He's looking like an NBA guard, bro.
Yeah,
he's really looking like an NBA guard.
He saw the draft tweets about him all of a sudden.
Yeah, he looking like the Tyrese Proctor that we always wanted to see, bro. You know what I'm saying? And that's a fact. My only thing about Tyrese, right? Here's my thing. It's not nothing like negative. My thing is that it's like playing all the way through, right? Like if you score that much in the first half, how much did he score in the second half? Not much,
like 3. Right? I think he had that like kind of fadeaway in the shot clock 3 again. That lucky 3 that he hit.
When like what I want to see with Tyrese, right, is like I want to see a different type of leadership. I want to see him take a step forward where it's like, okay, I know we struggling, we doing this, we doing that. I'm having a good game. Give me the fucking ball.
Yeah.
Period. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I understand, guys. I know John's telling us to do this and do that. Hey, we not doing that. This is what the fuck we gonna do.
He deferred a lot in that second half.
You're gonna set the high ball screen, and I'm gonna go to work. You know what I'm saying? And like he does that shit too much to where he's playing a good game and then he fades, bro. You don't hear about him no more. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only shit that I'd be pissing me off about Tyrese, even though, you know what I'm saying, his defense is rock solid. You know what I'm saying? His offense is rock solid, but his pause, relax, TK. But he gotta stay. Yeah, that was crazy as hell. My bad, YouTube. My fault. But he just gotta stay consistent with that, man. And that's just more of a mental thing, bro. Like attitude wise. Like I said, I just want to see him in that leadership role, like just you know what I'm saying, hey, I got this. I know we ain't doing good. Let me cook. You know what I'm saying? And that's all it comes down to.
It's almost like he really does shy away from that lead scorer role.
Like
because even the buckets he got in the first half, even the buckets he got in the first half were opportunistic shots. They weren't like I'm taking the game over shots. It was this is available to me, so I'm hitting it.
I think that's what Pablo's saying though, is that he needs to be more assertive, right?
Yeah. Yes.
But that's always been his thing.
No doubt, right?
I don't know if we can ask that of him, I guess is my point. I don't because for 3 years he's shown us that he won't do it.
Motherfucker, you better do it. You know what I'm saying? Because championship.
One thing I will say about his leadership though, he was the guy in the huddles, after the huddles, when everything was going on, being like, we're good. Telling Coop to keep his head up, that sort of thing. And I love that about him. That's a new Tyrese. Like he definitely says this is my team.
Yeah.
But you gotta also do it while, the game's going on. It's
Yeah.
not just like he's playing his role to perfection. But sometimes we need to ask a little bit more. Or saying it to you guys' point, it's like, hey, look, you're the only guy cooking right now.
Well, John said it. John said he wants more out of him offensively.
Right, exactly. I think that's what Pablo's saying is that, like,
Yeah. And
he's
it's not
doing
all
what
the
he's
time.
asking him, but like you gotta do
Right, and
more.
it's not all the time. We don't need him to score 40 all the time. This was a game we needed him to score 40, and I think that's exactly what Pop's getting at. That's what I would want Tyrese to recognize,
Right.
because he did it against Tennessee. That's the thing about it. He did it against Tennessee. He did
Exactly. That's what was so
games.
high him coming into
Even
last
Purdue, that
Mhm.
Purdue game that we lost that season, he was the one who was scoring down the stretch of that game, keeping us into it until they blew us out and we lost by double digits that game or whatever, like 20 or almost 20 or whatever it was. But like, he has done it. That's the thing. He has done it. Louisville last year, he's done it where he's been like our lead dog on offense. It's just, I don't know, man. Like it's so funny. Like you said, Pop, it's so funny how it's almost like he looked at how much he scored. He was like, "Oh wait, that's too much. Hold on, I got chill." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like for real, bro. And that's the shit that I just be like, come on, man. Because like, if you sitting on the bench, right, you on the coaching staff, right, what are you going to tell Tyrese? What are you going to tell John about Tyrese?
Cooking. They can't
exactly.
guard you.
I'm gonna be
now.
over there like if I'm Jay, if I'm fucking all the other assistant coaches. Hey, John, I know you want to run a play every single time, but you know what? Fuck that. Tyrese is cooking. Let's let him go to work. Let's let him keep doing his thing until they stop him. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing about it, that nobody this year has stopped Tyrese. You know, the best defensive player on Tyrese has been Tyrese Proctor.
Yeah. And that's why it makes you wonder, like I said, I think we saw the true glimpse of this team against UNC, which that was straight up. John let them go out and do what they were supposed to do. Like there was no getting cute with the playbook. There was no overcoaching, none of that. But I think he's trying to develop so much. I think right now he is overcoaching a little bit in some scenarios, and I think that's by design, quite honestly. But yeah, like in this situation, like what's the harm? Like you're not giving up anything on your playbook by letting Tyrese Proctor go win you that game. But I don't know that John took it out of his hands. I think it was Tyrese not being comfortable doing that, man. Like he just like I said, his career has just been full of him not being comfortable in that role.
I mean, he's a true point guard. I mean, that's what he's
right.
And again, he showed up a year early, much like Coop did, where it wasn't his team, and then like you said against Tennessee, he had to. Like there was no other choice. He had to, and he showed the ability to do it, and that's why we were all so high on him coming into last year, and like that's why I was like, oh, this guy's interesting player of the year potential, like because I believe that he has that type of talent. But like, yeah, he certainly has the talent to be that guy in the NBA where he can facilitate. He can score. He can shoot. He's tremendously gifted. I mean, the only thing again is can he be more assertive? And I think that's really what it is. And then before we go into the games that we're going to preview, let's just talk about Cooper Flag real quick because under the weather, the Jordan flu game, right? Like Cooper Flag, he had 4 points with 6 minutes to go, and he just said, "Fuck it, I'm going to try to win this game." And that's kind of what we're saying about Tyrese, right? But like, yo, just do that. Like, just saying, I don't give a shit. I'm taking every shot. I'm doing this. I'm going to win this. But Cooper Flag under the weather tries to do that, and that's why he's hands down the best player in the country. I don't want to hear any Johnny Broom. I don't want to hear anybody else. It's a 2-horse race. I get that, but like it's over. Like Cooper Flag is the best player in the country. He is unanimous National Player of the Year. Like I don't want to hear anything else. Period.
Yeah, that's just a fact, bro.
It's not. Go ahead, Bob.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's not even close, bro. And that's the thing is like, a lot of people focused on like, oh, he slipped and fell again. He's not ready for the moment. I'm like, what are you guys watching, bro? Like
Right.
these guys.
They're watching what they want to watch.
Yeah, but they fail to real like. I understand like he fell, he slipped. Okay, cool. That's just what third time
I
this
watched
season
the
and some
broom
shit like
girl
that
push
happened.
water onto the court.
But did
Like,
you?
you know what
I mean,
I
I
mean?
don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really look into too deep. Pause. You know what I'm
I
saying? I
saw
didn't look
that.
into conspiracy theories. But my thing is this though, right? Is that did you see what he did before that? How he kind of willed the team. You know what I'm saying? And like did his thing and like brought them back. I think he hit what 2 threes and
Yeah.
you know what I mean a couple buckets or whatever. And it's just like bro, like
Contested threes too. Like that's a part of his game now is the 3-point shot, which is ludicrous.
Scary.
It's
yeah.
ludicrous.
For real, bro. And like TK said though, like the player of the year joint is like it's to me, in my opinion, it's locked up already. It's Cooper Flag, bro. Like it's not even close, bro. Like what are we talking?
If you're picking somebody else, and this I understand that I'm biased, I get that, but like if you're picking somebody else, you're just it's kind of like voting Josh Allen for MVP because you're sick and tired of voting for Lamar. Like that's pretty much what this is. Like you don't want another Duke player to win it,
Mhm.
and you want Johnny Broom. And I'm not saying Johnny Broom's had a bad year or anything like that. Like he's had a great year. He's a phenomenal player. But there's only one Cooper Flag.
Mhm.
He is the sport right now. Like
Yeah.
and he's proved it. He came in with so much hype. He came in with more hype than any freshman
Since
ever.
Zion.
No, not since Zion, because Zion wasn't the hype. Zion didn't. Andre
Coming out of the summer, not much, right? It was the clips from Toronto that really vaulted Zion at that point.
Exactly. So like Cooper's had that hype for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not sure there has been one. Certainly in our lifetime, like that has had the amount of hype that Cooper Flag has come in with. And then not only has he met it, but he's exceeded it on one of the top 2 teams in the country. Like
As a 17-year-old.
Honestly, it reminds me of like the hype Jabari Parker had coming in was
That's
pretty wild. Yeah. But the thing was that team wasn't good. They were good. They weren't great. And honestly, like the Jabari's fame kind of slipped as that season went on. He had a phenomenal season, but it was like he was
underrated.
Like nobody was talking about him like at all, partially because of how the team performed. Whereas
he was,
but it just wasn't. You didn't. Social media was still kind of in its infancy. Like it just wasn't what it is right now. It's just different. Like what he's doing. We talked about that before. We said that this was going to be Zion levels of attention. Finally there. It took a little bit because we lost those couple of games early on. It took a minute. It's finally there. He's the talk every single time SportsCenter comes on or First Take or whatever else. Anytime they talk about college basketball, he's the one they're talking about. So it's there, and he's performing. He is performing. Like, yeah, he 17 shots or whatever. I saw that, and it was okay, fine, 17 shots. But guess what? Like, so what? Like,
I want him to take those shots. The other thing is, kind of to that point, right? Is that we've gotten bumped from our game, like we're following, the NBA or we're following the simulator golf league. The first time that we were following the simulator golf league, for any of the golfers that listen, there's a PGA Tour player that was actually involved in the match or whatever the hell they're called, Max Homa, and he goes, "Is this thing over yet? I want to go watch Cooper Flag."
Yeah,
like mid match.
Yep.
He's literally saying, "I want to go watch Cooper Flag." He is worldly. Like that's what it is. And that's why you come to Duke, because you can go to Maine or you can go to Michigan State or you can go somewhere else. You're not getting that kind of hype.
Nope.
You're not getting the hype where you're starting SportsCenter and ending SportsCenter. You're not getting the hype where you are the talk of Jeff Goodman and everybody else in the college basketball landscape is only at Duke, and that's and you pair this is the Zion thing, right? You pair that with the hype train that you're coming in with, like the Zion Williamson, like you pair those two, it's over.
Yeah.
That's why
and your team is winning games. Like, and your team is a national championship favorite.
It was both, right? So like Zion's team is winning a lot of games, Cooper's team is winning a lot of games. You pair the social media aspect that Zion came in with, plus the fact that Duke basketball is the most followed program in all of college sports, and they're like 5th, including professional. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's just unheard of. You're talking Lakers, you're talking Celtics, Yankees,
Yep.
whatever. Like, it's insanity. Pair those two together, unstoppable. All right, so let's move to a couple previews. We got Cal coming up tomorrow night, 9 p.m. I assume after the golf simulator matches. I don't know. Although it's on the ACC network, so better than the CW. I gotta be honest with you. Nobody's a bigger Cal Bears fan than AC. Tell us what we can expect.
I mean, it boils down to one thing for them, and that
Chase
is, yeah, no, it's Andrei Stojakovic. But he has not. He played on the 8th finally. He was out for a couple of games. I think he played again against Wake. So he was back for that game. I mean, he's a flame. He can be a flamethrower, but man, for the past month, he's been bad. And that's Cal sunk. I mean, they kind of had a little bit of life when he was their offensive identity, and this past month, him being as bad as he's been on offense it's just sunk the team. I mean, he's scoring 17 a game on the season, but that's not indicative of his last month. But he's a good player. It'll be interesting to see if he comes out, in the Duke game and tries to reestablish himself as somebody who's important. They have two smaller guards in Jeremiah Wilkinson and Javon Blackshear. We've seen it already. Teams with small guards just don't do well against Duke. They just don't. And then you have Matty Sissoko. If you remember him, he's already played Duke before. He played for Michigan State.
Bun.
He's buns. He's a turnover machine. He's one of those big centers, like 6'9". He throws his body everywhere, so he can be a problem that way. But he's going as many rebounds as he gets. He's going to have that many turnovers. This should be a blowout. B, this should be a Kamon Malawatch reacclimation. And C, I would love to see. I would love to see some more bench production in terms of Zay. We saw it against Syracuse. We saw him go off against Syracuse. Like, do it again, man. That's fine. Like these bad teams, he's been doing that. I'd want to see him do it again, like he did against Auburn, against some better teams. But hey, let that man cook because we need him.
So I want a prediction out of you.
91-67.
All right, Pal, what do you got?
I think it's gonna be a straight ass whipping. I mean, I don't think Cal can do anything with Duke, period. You know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing they can do with them. You know what I'm saying? We got the advantage in every area. Pause. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about here, bro? Like, they don't even belong on the floor with Duke. So, I mean, they can't do it. They don't have anything. Even
Need to
if
take the red shirt off
Stojakovic,
Steph Marbury Jr., Steph Marbury II.
even if Stojakovic go for 40, right, which that is not going to happen. Even if he was to go for 40, they still don't have a chance to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't do anything well on the court. You know what I'm saying? Just like you said, they got Blackshear. And who's the other guard?
Wilkinson, the freshman.
Okay, Wilkinson is straight. Javon Blackshear is experienced. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hell of a defensive player. A good player, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's come on, what are we talking about? It's Duke, you know what I'm saying? Stojakovic ain't gonna really do shit. I think they're gonna focus on locking him up. So
Cal's funny because they have the most. They got in college. They got to have the most like NBA lineage.
I know,
with
right?
The most buns players. They got Stojakovic's kid. If you remember, Andrei Stojakovic from back in the day, they got his kid. They got Lou Dort's brother, Lee Dort, on the squad. He's terrible. Steph Marbury Jr. is redshirting. Like, they got so much NBA lineage on that team. It's crazy.
And boys is buns. So I'm gonna say we win the game. I think it's gonna be the first time Duke scores 100 points this year. So
I'd like to see it.
100-19 is gonna be the final score.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit more reserved there. So I'm going to say 83-63. But then we have the return that everybody's been looking for the entire season, and that's Jalen Blix coming back with the Stanford Cardinal. Jay Blix, friend of the program, just having an absolutely phenomenal season. Actually, not even being sarcastic, like he's played phenomenal. I'm very happy for him. Like, he deserves it. Love to see it. AC breakdown in this game. Obviously, Stanford, like, Rivals were going to win the game, but like they're not going to be just a complete pushover.
Nah, because they have enough. They have enough offensively to keep them in the game. They have a little bit of size at spots to help them. They're young, kind of young in certain spots though, especially off the bench. So their depth is young. But Maxime Renault is a monster. The dude's a baller. He's playing his way into possible lottery contention this season. And then you have Jay Blakes, who's having an all ACC caliber year. He is playing very well. They also have the other 6'5" guard Sellers, who's had a good year himself. So they have enough scoring power to keep them into games. But we should outlast them. This is going to be a Saturday Monday turnaround. The first one we had, obviously, we won both of those games, but it was ugly. We've seen that the past 3 years with Shire, where with those Saturday Monday turnarounds, the Saturday game has been ugly. The first time we have it, the second time we have the turnaround, the Saturday game gets a little bit better, and then the third time we have it, we blow the team out usually, and then follow it up with another win after that as the year goes on. So we get used to that turnaround. So we're not going to talk about the UVA game this time around, but at least the Stanford game, I do expect to be a little bit closer, especially having a Wednesday game, then in the Saturday, and prepping for a Monday game after that. So this is definitely going to be a game where I think the score is going to be a little bit closer than you want against a Stanford Cardinals team that's not a tournament team. But we'll have to fight through this one a little bit at home. So I think rely on the defense a little bit this game. I'd like to see us hold them under. Shit, man, hold them under 65, and we got the game in hand for sure. I'll say 75-62. Kyle Smith is a good coach. He's a really good coach. He's, we talk about coaching in the ACC. That's a guy that was a hot name over at Washington State. Ended up going over to Stanford when they went to the ACC. So he's a good coach. He'll keep them in the game.
All right, Bob, what do you
got? Just like you said, man. Like Maxine. What's his name? Maxime Renault.
Mm-hmm.
Renault and Jalen Blakes. I mean, that's really the only people on a team they have that really has any real chance of getting off on Duke. So it's like, relax, bro, relax. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like Duke is gonna blow them out too. We don't need the Jalen Blake show. I think he might have a decent game or whatever, but at the end of the day, we're gonna do what we do. And tremendous coaching over there. Obviously he's a tremendous coach.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he got the job or whatever. So, I mean, this is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's no need for no intricate analysis with this one. This one's going to be a blowout. Give me 90 to 12.
There we go. 31 combined points for the two opponents we have coming into Cameron. I'm going to go a little bit more reserved than that. I'm going to say 78-70. But that's that. And then we have, we'll be back before this, but we have Monday night game against Virginia at Virginia. And then we go to Madison Square Garden against Illinois. Then we go to at Miami, who actually is Cheeks. So we got some 3 games on the road after this. So let's enjoy the homestand. But either way, proud of this Duke team, 21-3, 12-1. This is our league. This is our season. Proud of the Duke fans. Like, let's go Duke. Nothing more to be said. AC, where can people find us?
You know where it is, y'all. Twitter, Patreon, YouTube. Subscribe, man. Y'all are watching. Just subscribe, please. Help us out, bro. Get us to 500. It's the drive to 500. Let's go. We need 500 subscribers. Help us out, y'all. Let's go, Duke. Like Pop said, 90-12, I guess, against Stanford. The Stanford Jay Blakes. Let's go, Duke, baby.